She was supposed to be the woman behind the counter. The quiet one. The cameras barely noticed her. But Rebecca Harrison just said something about Rick that changes everything. Not about the show. Not about the money. About the man. And once you hear it, you will never watch Pawn Stars the same way again. Las Vegas. 1980s, a young Rick Harrison working in a pawn shop that nobody cared about. His father Richard opened it. A small storefront on Las Vegas Boulevard. The kind of place people went when life had already beaten them down. Pawn shops are where desperation comes to negotiate. And Rick understood that better than anyone. People walked in with the last thing they owned. Their grandfather's watch. Their mother's ring. And he bought it from them for less, then sold it for more. That is the entire business model. But Rick saw something his father never did. He saw television. A world where these desperate negotiations could entertain millions. Gold and silver pawn shop. The cameras came. Pawn Stars became one of the most watched reality shows in television history. Rick Harrison became worth hundreds of millions. But behind the empire, there was a woman named Rebecca. And she was paying the price the cameras never showed. Because while Rick was on television making deals, his personal life was a different kind of pawn shop. Everything had a price. And Rebecca was the one thing he kept undervaluing. She had been his partner. The mother of his children. The woman beside him when the shop was just a dusty storefront on a street people avoided. And then the cameras came. Everything changed. Rebecca watched her husband become a stranger. The man she married, replaced by a brand. Pawn Stars was a machine. And machines don't leave room for wives who want their husbands back. And then the worst thing happened. His son Adam, from his first marriage, died in a private plane crash in 2014. 45 years old. Gone. A father loses his child. The most successful pawn shop owner in the world could not buy that back. And Rebecca watched it from the sidelines. Because by then, the family was already fractured. Rick did what Rick always does. He made a deal with grief. He absorbed it into the business. Talked about it publicly. Turned it into something the cameras could capture. Because that is how he survives. But Rebecca saw through it. And what she exposed was not cruel. It was honest. That the man the world knows as the king of Pawn Stars traded every real thing in his life for a television show. His first marriage. Gone. His son. Dead. His relationships with his children. Strained. His connection to Rebecca. Broken. And the cameras kept rolling. Because the cameras only care if he is entertaining. And Rick was. He is. He always will be. That is his gift. And his tragedy. The same skill that made him brilliant on television kept him from being present in his own life. He could negotiate the value of anything. Except the value of staying. Rebecca's exposure was not an attack. It was a mirror. She held it up and said, "Look at what this cost. Look at the family that paid for your entertainment with pieces of itself." The world watched Pawn Stars for 10 seasons and never once asked the question Rebecca finally asked. Who paid for this? Not in money. In life. The answer was the wife. The children. The people who loved him before the world did. And maybe that is what people understand too late. That the most successful man in the room is often the loneliest. Because success is not the opposite of tragedy. Sometimes it is just the way tragedy gets dressed. If this story moved you, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Because there are so many more legends whose real stories deserve to be told, and I'll be bringing them right here.